Hi, in this video we'll see that when delta is small, a small number, that 1 plus delta cubed is roughly 1 plus 3 delta. And to show this, we'll start off by expanding the expression 1 plus delta cubed, which is equal to 1 plus delta times 1 plus delta times 1 plus delta. And we can we can expand the first two, 1 plus deltas, and if we expand them, we will get 1 plus 2 delta plus delta squared times the remaining 1 plus delta. And if we continue our expansion, we'll get 1 plus 3 delta plus 3 delta squared plus delta cubed. And we're interested in the case where delta is a small number. If delta, for example, was 1 part per thousand, that's a small number, then delta squared would be delta times delta, which is 1 over 1,000 times 1 over 1,000, which is 1 over a million. And delta cubed would be delta times delta, which is 1 over 1,000 times 1 over 1,000 times 1 over 1,000, which is 1 part per billion. So we see that the delta squared term is 1,000 times smaller than delta, and the delta cubed term is 1,000,000 times smaller. For all intents and purposes, we can ignore all delta squared terms and delta cubed terms because they're so much tinier. And so if we get rid of those two terms, we see that we have 1 plus delta cubed is roughly 1 plus 3 delta, which is what we wanted to show. And we can see something interesting. The 3 in the power seems to have carried over on the right side with the 3 as the coefficient. And we can see why that's true. To do that, we should go back to the initial expansion of 1 plus delta times 1 plus delta times 1 plus delta. That expansion requires choosing each of the two terms from the initial 1 plus delta, multiplying it by each of the two terms from the second 1 plus delta, and finally multiplying by each of the two terms from the final 1 plus delta. And rather than considering all these eaches together, let's consider the individual choice. We'll choose one of the two terms from the first 1 plus delta times one of the two terms from the second 1 plus delta times one of the two terms from the third 1 plus delta, and we'll sum up over all the choices, and that will get us the total answer. For example, we could have chosen as one of our terms a 1 from the first 1 plus delta, a 1 from the second 1 plus delta, and a delta. This would be one of the terms contributing to the final answer. And that would end up with 1 times delta, which is delta. And so the question is, how many ways are there of choosing just a single delta in our choices? In this choice, we chose the single delta from the last bracket, but we could have chosen it from the middle bracket, and the other two choices being 1s. They would multiply by delta. Or we could have chosen the delta from the first bracket, the other two are 1s, and each of these terms are terms that count in the overall sum. We add them together, and we get 3 delta. So, the 3 delta comes from the 3 different ways you can get because there are 3 brackets, and the 1 plus delta cubed is what's responsible for there being exactly 3 brackets. 1 plus delta cubed, the 3 here, carries over to the coefficient here. I hope that this video was helpful, and I'll see you soon.